All right, good morning, everyone. John Sloan here with Keller Williams Luxury Homes. And my guest today is Justin Marlles. He has a firm, an attorney firm, and I'm just going to let him tell you a little bit about that. And I've got some questions for you about it because you are considered a business attorney. Is that right?
That's right, John. That's right.
Okay, all right. So give us a little bit about who you are and tell us about what your business is all about.
Sure. So, first of all, John, thank you for having me, and it's a pleasure to talk with your audience. My name is Justin Marlles. I'm an attorney. My office is in Palm Springs. My firm is Marlles Law PC. Marlles is how it's spelled. And I am a small business lawyer. So, what that means is I work with small businesses as well as individuals, helping them get set up, incorporate, if it's an LLC, get the LLC established. I do contract drafting and review. I also do buyouts. Anything really that a small business encounters, I usually can handle it. And if I can't handle it, I'll certainly send folks in the right direction. But yeah, I love working with small business owners, and I myself am a small business. I'm a
Yeah,
solo practitioner, so it's just me. When I don't have anybody else answering the phone. When you reach out to me or email me, I'm the person you get.
that's right.
And so yeah, so I understand in that respect. I understand my clients because I'm in the same boat as they are.
So, what kind of challenges do some of these small businesses have? Above and beyond, getting their LLC set up and just getting their business going.
Sure. Well, I think what I have seen a lot of is when you're getting set up and when you're a small business owner, like you are mainly focused on just the day-to-day operations, of getting clients, servicing your clients, those kinds of things. So oftentimes, with that as the case, a lot of the compliance issues, corporate compliance issues, things like that tend to fall by the wayside. Especially when people are first getting up and running and they're cash strapped. They don't sometimes have the money to engage an attorney early on in the business process. And so what oftentimes happens is as the business grows and they take on employees and the business becomes more sophisticated, they never go back and fix those things that
Yeah.
were shortcuts were taken early on. And so I think one of the biggest challenges is just trying to after you've kind of gone down the road a little bit, having to fix some things that really weren't done right early on because everybody's just doing their best they can when they first get started.
Yeah, because these small business owners, they really don't know the law and they don't know all of the issues related to compliance that they really need to be dealing with. They just want to get their business up and running so they can start making some money, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's very understandable. And so kind of what obviously the best thing to do is to try and lay the correct foundation early on if you have the capital to do so. If you can hire an attorney to help you get set up properly before you're up and running, I would strongly recommend that. I'm happy to do that. And I'm thrilled when people come to me before they launch their businesses so I can help them do it the right way. But the next best thing is if you have been in business for a few years, taking the time to say, let's go ahead and fix those things that maybe weren't where the foundation wasn't laid properly early on. Let's fix them now before they become a real problem. Because as we know, and you're a realtor, if a house has a cracked foundation, that's a major issue. And so, you might not be able to sell your business if there's, you haven't done certain things correctly down, that becomes an issue down the road.
Is there one thing that you could identify for a small business that they typically don't do that gets them in trouble?
Yeah, I'm actually really glad you asked. So, yes. So, one of the things I have seen extremely frequently, and this is specifically with respect to general stock corporations. So, I'm not, in this case, I'm not necessarily talking about LLCs, but a lot of people, if your business ends with an Inc., that's the kind of that's the business I'm speaking about here. So, these kinds of businesses, I'd say 80% of the time, 90% of the time, what I see is that the business owner has not complied with the requirement that the business properly issues stock to the business owner. So there is a requirement that you actually have to document the business issuing you stock, in exchange for usually a payment to the business. So you need to buy stock in your own business when you get started, and it has to be properly documented. You can't just magically say, I own 5,000 shares in my business. The business actually has to issue it to you, and you need to pay for it. And so, time and time again, I see people say, "Oh yeah, I own, I have a general stock corporation. I own stock in my business." And then I look at their corporate records, and I'm like, "Well, there's no record of that having happened," and that becomes a problem because then if you want to sell the business, the first thing that the seller's going to look at is you're saying this is your business, and you want me to buy your stock, which is me buying
Yeah.
your business. What's the record? Is there any record that you ever properly issued stock in the first place? And when that's not the case, you've got problems. You can't have an annual shareholders meeting, which is a requirement for general stock corporations, if you didn't issue stock to yourself.
Right.
So that's one of the most common things is just businesses don't issue stock properly on the front end, and I can work with people to help fix that if that's what's going on.
Yeah, and you just mentioned it, having that annual meeting that is required to take place and documenting that.
Yes,
Um,
yes, and it's funny. People, for whatever reason, that requirement seems to have gotten through to most people. They're sort of like vaguely aware of it. But again, like how you can have your annual meeting, but if your business did not properly issue stock to you, the annual meeting isn't doing what it's supposed to be doing because there's no shareholders to begin with.
yeah. Well, that's very interesting. Is there any other points that you would make for a business that's getting started? Um,
Yeah, I mean,
might be
I would
helpful.
say, yeah, I think a lot of the time, especially small businesses, they tend to conduct business very informally. There's a lot of handshake deals or a lot,
Mm,
I'd say lightly documented deals. Especially when dealing with customers, I would say, you know, people, more documentation, the better.
right.
I think nowadays, especially with e-signature, the ability for people to review documents and sign them pretty easily online, like, people don't balk at even lengthier contracts that protect you as the business owner. And so I would just encourage business owners to just make sure that you document your business arrangements with people and don't be afraid to do it right. And don't be afraid if it takes a few pages, you're not going to scare the customers off.
Especially if they're family members.
Yes.
Seen way too many issues, when the family's involved, and oh man, it gets out of hand.
Yeah, and if, for instance, if you have family members who are, they own shares in, they are co-owners in your business, a mere promise, kind of an informal arrangement that they may own 50% of the company, is that documented? Are they an actual, if the stock corporation, are they registered as a shareholder in the stock ledger of the company? Um, is there documentation if you sold your shares to them? Is there documentation of that? And so again, like these things can kind of lie dormant for a long time, but when you want to sell the business, if you get sued, oftentimes like these things come to the forefront, and those are the worst times to be dealing with those things.
Yeah. Wow. Well, that's great information for especially the small businesses, and I appreciate you taking the time to share that with us. So, tell us the best way to get a hold of you, Justin.
Sure. So you can reach me through first of all through my website, which is www.marleslaw.com, MARLES law.com. Or you can give me a ring on my office phone, 760-989-1834. And like I said, I'll be the person who picks up. So
Great. And just one last thing. Give me a little bit about your background, because I
yeah,
know that
sure.
you've been with some large firms.
That's right. Just real quick, I attended the University of Virginia School of Law, and I'm qualified to practice both in California and Texas. I was previously a partner with the international law firm of Baker McKenzie.
Hmm.
They've got offices in LA and 50 other or more places around the world. I don't even know at this point. Previously, I was also in-house counsel with a publicly traded company called Petrohawk Energy. And yeah, now I'm lucky to call the Coachella Valley my home.
Great. All right, Justin, appreciate your time. And folks, if you have any questions, just give Justin a call. All
Thanks,
right.
John.
All right. Have a great day.
You
Thank you
too.
again.